Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Now what I have here is quite an astonishing piece of maple. A lot of my wood I get from all the usual places, online specialists. I get a lot from eBay and Facebook Marketplace, etc. and specialist groups on Facebook itself. But this one I've gone to a place called East Durham Guitars, which isn't too far away from me, and they specialise in high-end timbers specifically designed to have guitars made out of them. Now this piece, when I saw it, I just couldn't help. I had to buy it on the spot. It wasn't overly expensive, it was only about £30, so not as much as I thought it would be, but hopefully we can make something quite nice out of it. Now, this end of the piece is fine, but all the action, as it were, is going on in this area. So using my template, I'm going to try and figure out what I can make out of this. Now I could move this on to a nice flat piece and get a nice normal bowl out of it, but I'd like to try and get some of this edge detail in. I think it would be a shame to have it there and not use it, because obviously it'd be some sort of burl or something's going on in the wood inside here and it's reflecting on the outside, so I want to try and make as much of that as I can. So I think that's about a good position where I can get in some of this nice shape on the edge. I'll also include a lot of the beautiful figure in the wood itself. So I'm just going to get out my marker, mark that round. I'm going to have to cut this with a jigsaw, so I shall get that sorted and I shall bring you back in a second. Right, there we are, we're all done. We've got a beautiful 12-inch maple blank. I can't wait to get started on this. This piece obviously is still going to get used. We're going to get another blank, good sized blank out of this, and I may cut it up and splice in some other wood in, as well in there, just to give this a bit more interest. Okay, now back to this. I'm really liking the edge on this. I think that bit there is nicer than this bit here, only just. So this is going to be the top of the bowl. So we're going to put a faceplate in here, get it on the lathe and start turning. Okay, we're all on nice and securely. I am going to use tailstock support at the start, as ever, just to be safe. Okay, I've sharpened up, balance is pretty good, so we can start turning it just under 700 RPM. Half-inch bowl gouge, and initially I'm just going to start working, getting this bottom flat, and just start working up the edges. I've got an idea for a design for this. I just want to start cutting it first, see how it turns, and then we'll make some decisions. Okay, the wood's looking absolutely gorgeous. We do have a bit of tear out appearing around here. I don't know if that's due to a shake in the wood or some slightly softer areas, but I think we can probably turn past that. Now I'm not going to bother rounding the outside yet, because I want to try and leave these bits as natural as possible. We are going to lose them at some point, but I want as many options as I can get while I'm initially turning this, so I'm not going to worry about the outside. I'm just going to let that become naturally round as I'm doing the rest. Now I'm thinking of a nice, very narrow foot on this piece with a very gentle curve from the rim to the base. I think that's going to be very pleasing to the eye with this one. So not too much decoration, not too much fuss. I just want the wood to tell the story about this. We've got some amazing grain on here, and it would be such a shame to hide it underneath unnecessary decoration. Okay, I've got a nice gentle curve now starting to appear. We'll round it up to the edges in a little while. This foot may need to come a little bit smaller, but I shall make that judgment in a little while. Firstly, I'm just going to sharpen up again, and then we shall continue. Okay, we started getting closer to this top edge, so I've got to start making a decision where or what I want to do with it in terms of I need to get this round and flat, but I want to disrupt the pattern I've got on here as much as possible. Now I'm thinking, looking at this, if I take the top edge to about there, or I'll take this curve up to about there, then I'll get a curve, bottom curve on this burl point. I might lose the tip of that one, but it's either that and go further up and just have that one, or maybe that one as well. All decisions. Right, scrub that. I think I'm going to go all the way to the top, mainly because the pattern on this top edge is so very nice. So actually I'll just go up a little bit further to about there, I think, and then we'll see what comes out of that. That's a bar conclusion there. That'll pop out at some point. Right, I'll take that curve up to that white line and we'll see how that appears. I'll stop maybe a couple of times in between, just in case I want to change my mind as I'm getting to this lower point. I'm going to take a fraction more off here, just a small fraction. We'll start sorting out the base, put the recess in and sand, and then we'll turn it around, because I do have a plan of how to make the most of that little guy there. I think he deserves it. Right, one last pass, recess, sanding. As I went to sort out the recess, I had a sudden desire to put a slight chamfer on the inside of this foot. I think it just gives it quite an elegant look to it, slightly oriental. Okay, right, I'll set up for sanding. I'll let you watch a bit of it, and I shall bring you back when it's done. Okay, sanding went beautifully. The finer grits you go, the more of this pattern is starting to come through, and it looks absolutely amazing. We've even got some spalting in there as well, which is just fantastic. Right, I'm going to give it a wipe over with some isopropyl alcohol. This just helps clean the dust out the grain, and it'll give us a kind of a first idea of what it's going to look like with a finish on. Just amazing. Right, we'll let this evaporate, and then we'll put a sealer on it, and then we're going to go on with some, I think, abrasive paste, just to make the finish a little bit finer. Okay, that's had a chance to evaporate, so I'm just going to go on with a blonde shellac. Which will just seal the surface and allow us to put the abrasive paste on and get a finer finish. This is amazing. This is just so beautiful. It's everything I hoped it would be. Okay, we'll give that a chance to dry, and then we'll come back on with an abrasive paste. Okay, it's nice and dry, so I'm going to go on with the True Grit abrasive paste. Now we'll buff this in. The way it works best is that you start off with a slower speed and then increase the speed. It'll make that finish finer and finer. Okay, we'll just clean off the surface again. Make sure we get rid of all the residue with our isopropyl alcohol. Now, I'm not going to put a final finish on this yet. I'm going to do that at the end. I'm thinking of using a Danish oil for this piece. Okay, right. I'll let this evaporate, and we shall turn it round and start working on the other side. Okay, we've got it turned round. I've sharpened up again. Now I'm going to try and create a reflective angle of the bottom for the bowl to give us a discus style edge. The reason for doing that is because I want to try and keep the definition in this edge as much as I can. And if I just went round it to get this completely round, then I have a horrible feeling I would get horrible flat spots on this definition. So I'm not quite sure it's totally going to work, but we'll give it a go. Speed wise, we're going to be starting at about 750 RPM. Okay, excellent. Right, let's start hollowing this out. It looks just as good on the inside as it does the out, which is fantastic. Right, I'm going to take the tailstock away, sharpen up again, and we'll finish off the inside. Okay, that should do it. Right, I'm going to set it for sanding again. As ever, I'll let you watch a bit of it, and she'll bring you back when it's done. Okay, sanding went well. We've got the edges sorted out nicely. It's Beautiful fine edge now, all the way around. Right, so we'll clean off the surface with isopropyl, as before, and then we'll go on again with a shellac sealer. The quilted pattern in this is just unbelievable. Again, I'll let that evaporate. Okay, that's all evaporated, so we're going to go on again with a blonde shellac sealer. In case you're not aware, blonde shellac is a normal shellac but with the wax taken out, so it's not as dark as a normal shellac would be. So it helps us retain the basic colour of the wood and doesn't darken it too much. Okay, I'll just let that set. And again, we'll go on with an abrasive paste. Okay, that's all ready. Just going to do exactly this as we did before. Start off slowly and then increase the speed. When that's sorted, we can set up for applying the final finish. Okay, I'll set up to put the final finish on and I'll bring you back in a second. Okay, we're about ready to start putting on the final finish. Now we're going to be using Danish oil. Now Danish oil is a wonderful finish, but you've got to build it up in layers. So it's not an overly quick process. So we're going to start on the back. I'm just going to pour a little bit of this into a pot. I'm using Liberan's Danish oil. The reason I use this one is because it's slightly quicker drying than a standard Danish oil. Normal Danish oil can take up to 24 hours to dry, where Liberan's I can get a second coat on in about 6 or 7 hours. So I'm just going to put it on with a brush. Doesn't want to be an overly thick coat. Just need to make sure that we're all covered. You can apply it with a brush, with a sponge, with tissue, anything you want. But please be aware, if you do use tissue or anything like that, to dispose of it very, very carefully, because Danish oil can have an exothermic reaction. And if it's left in the open air, it can spontaneously combust, which isn't ideal, as you can imagine. So please, when you finish with tissues or anything like that, put them safely somewhere to dry, or just throw them in a bucket of water or anything like that. Okay, now next stage is I'm going to leave this for about 15-20 minutes, and then I'm going to come back and wipe off any excess. After that, I'll leave it to dry and then continually come back and repeat the process, probably another 4 or 5 times. But you don't have to wait that long. I'll bring you back and let you see it again as soon as we're finished. Well, there we go. 5 coats of Danish oil later, we've got quite a beautiful figured maple bowl. The ripple in here is just absolutely mind-blowing. There's just so much going on. We've got some burl pattern around here, we've got some spalting, we've got a nice live edge, we managed to save some nice detail on there. And all over it's just an amazing piece of wood. I'm glad we didn't try and do too much to it in terms of decoration. I think we've done just enough to do justice to the wood and to let it be itself, as it were. Well, there we go. I'll leave some beauty shots of this at the end, but if you've enjoyed the video, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up and all that kind of thing. Like and subscribe if you can, and if you shared it as well, then that would just be absolutely amazing. Don't forget that we've got the giveaway happening on the 4th of April in just a few days' time. And you've got a chance to win the oak platter we made a few days ago. Apart from that, thank you very much indeed for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I shall see you next time. Thank you.